All right, Doug Wolfe, Clay Koenig, two baseball teams going in opposite directions. My White Sox, they're going to the basement. The Cubs are on fire. Tell us about the Cubs.
Well, since the All-Star break, they're either the number one or the number two team for records. Actually, the number two right now. They're number one in bullpen ERA since the All-Star break. They are highest in batting average since the All-Star break. So they're really coming together. They're gelling. We picked up Candelario, who used to be part of the Cubs organization. When we picked up Quintana from the White Sox, we gave you guys Candelario, if you remember. And I think, didn't we also give you
Eloy Jimenez.
Eloy Jimenez? That is correct. What about, wasn't Gleyber Torres one of those?
Could have been.
Could have been one of those. Who now plays for the Yankees. But yeah, they're in a good spot right now. They beat the Mets last night 3-2, so the series is split. They've won the last 6 series in a row. They took 3 out of 4 from the first place Reds, knocked them down to second, and then they took 2 out of 3 of the Braves. And that's one of the best teams in baseball.
The White Sox, at the trade deadline, they got rid of basically their starting pitching staff, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito. They got rid of their relievers, Middleton, Graveman, and their big home run hitter, Jake Berger. All gone. So they're doing a rebuild. They're saying they're going to be competitive for 2024. Not happening. That team is not going to be competitive in 2024 unless they go big in the free agent market. I don't think it's going to happen. When the year started, did you expect the Cubs to be doing a little more rebuilding, or did you expect them to be competitive? Do you remember?
No, rebuild. Absolutely rebuild. Because they were middle of the pack last year. I think they finished below 500 by 2 games, I think, if I remember correctly. This year I wasn't expecting anything because they really didn't do a lot in the free agency market. I was so happy they brought over their center fielder from the Dodgers, Cody Bellinger, because that guy's back to MVP status this year. I mean, the guy is just tearing it up since July 1st. He just doesn't stop. He continues to hit. And I have never seen a batter extend his arms as much as Cody Bellinger. I don't know if you've noticed that or not, but when he's in the batter's box, how tall he is, those arms are straight out on the swing and that bat speed. It's not Nomar Garciaparra fast, but it's pretty darn fast.
He's hitting the outside pitches that most players would miss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no outside corner for him because he's so tall and he's got that reach.
Who's the general manager these days of the Cubs?
The general manager is now Jed Hoyer. He followed Theo Epstein. A lot of the sports reporters I have read, they don't understand what Jed is doing. They thought that he was going to be in rebuilding. But when the Cubs went on a tear and won those 8 games in a row, they went from sellers to buyers. Because they were going to get rid of Cody Bellinger. They were going to get rid of some pitching staff that they had. But it's amazing. You've got 162 games and 8 games changes your decision.
Yes.
That's baseball.
All right. Give you an example. The White Sox in June, they were 3 games out. Well below 500, but the division is so bad.
Sure.
They were 3 games out, and now they're 14 games out. So when it came up to the trade deadline, it was dump everybody and save salary. It was a salary dump. I mean, that's obviously what it was. And then they're going to start again this fall. But the problem is they just went through a rebuild. And they went to the playoffs twice, were eliminated winning only 1 game each time, and now they're in another rebuild. And for the fans, it's terrible because it goes 3-4 years, and then all of a sudden,
Where's Abreu?
He went to Houston.
Why'd they let him go?
They didn't sign him.
Why?
Money. They looked at him as being a 36-year-old player, 35, 36-year-old player. And actually, they've got Andrew Vaughn at first base. His numbers are just as good as Abreu's are right now with Houston.
Okay, so it's not a loss.
No, I don't think so. I did when they lost him. I thought that was a loss. But
sure.
They have major clubhouse trouble right now. Came out in the New York Post. And
from Timothy Anderson you're talking about?
It was about Kenyon Middleton, pitcher who went to the Yankees. He said the clubhouse there in Chicago is absolutely awful. They've had players sleeping in the clubhouse and in the bullpen during games. A lot of players don't show up for meetings. They don't show up for practice. It's a terrible situation. Now, of course, the management, they're doing the old, everything's fine. We've talked to everybody. Everything's great. You had the Tim Anderson fight. He's under a 6-game suspension, although he's appealing it, so he isn't serving it yet. Pedro Gafal, the manager, served a suspension yesterday against the Yankees. I heard him on the radio this morning. He was watching the game from the luxury boxes up top, so he's not suffering in his suspension.
Pretty bad punishment.
But and then Yasmani Grandal, the catcher, he reportedly was in a fight with Tim Anderson earlier in the season.
You're
So
kidding
they're
me.
fist fighting each other like they're both denying it. Oh, that never happened. But somebody had to go and tell the media, hey, look, these guys have been duking it out in the clubhouse.
So when Tim put up his dukes,
Yeah.
I mean, he's so big, but then he got caught with half a punch and he goes right
Yeah,
down to the
I
ground.
don't think that was half a punch, man.
Oh, you think it was a good one?
Oh, I thought it was a really good one, but it was accidental because he was pounding on Ramirez the back of his head.
Yeah.
And then Ramirez actually had his head down, and he just swung, and he caught him right in the jaw. And I think he actually knocked him out for a second.
Is that right?
He went down like a ton of bricks. When you look at it in slow motion, you can just see he just
Oh, my
completely lost
gosh.
it. He goes down, and then when they get him up, they're doing the thing like, we're going to hold you back. They didn't have to hold him back. They had to hold him up because you could see his legs were wobbly and everything else.
No good.
Yeah, here's the thing. Don't get in a fight.
Yeah. I mean,
And then
it's-
he's suspended for 6 games. The Cleveland guy suspended for 3. Everybody's like, why? Well, Tim Anderson, if you watch the video, he had to push the umpire out of the way to get to Rodriguez. Can't touch the umpire, man. That's contact. So
oh, that's the extra 3 games why he got?
I think it is. They
Okay.
didn't say that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And he got suspended either early this year or late last year for making contact with an umpire at home plate. He did the head-to-head type stuff and didn't work well.
How
for
many
him.
years left in his contract?
Not enough. Or maybe too much.
Yeah.
He's not that good. He's overhyped. He's a good hitter, had a lousy first half, but he's been hot since he came out of the All-Star break. He's not a good fielder at all. He's a terrible fielder.
All right, so let me ask you a question. You know the Chicago teams. In your opinion, do you think the Cubs make the playoffs this year?
Yes,
Are they 1.5 games back right now?
right.
And they're a half game back from the wild card.
I think they easily make the wild card. They may win the division.
The division's
The
pretty weak
Brewers
this
have
year.
a history of not finishing well.
They lost again last
I
night?
think they can win the division, honestly. Again, you're a game and a half out. We still have the rest of August, all of September, and a couple days in October probably. I think they can win the division easily. Keep playing the way they are, though. I mean, there's a lot of ifs.
So let's talk about a team we hate, the Cardinals.
Okay.
At least I hate.
Yeah, I don't care about the Cardinals.
What happened to them this year?
You tell me.
They've got the best third baseman in baseball, probably one of the best first basemen, at least hitting wise,
Yep.
in baseball. It was pitching.
They just got rid of Flaherty, who's one of their better pitchers.
And I guess in his first game pitching for the Orioles, he did outstanding.
Yeah.
I think he was pitching again last night. I didn't see the box score.
It was like Lance Lynn of the White Sox. He's given up 28 home runs with the White Sox. Led the major leagues with 28 home runs. He goes down and wins his first game with the Dodgers easily.
It's a change of scenery. I believe that's huge for ball players.
Yeah, but as far as the Cardinals go, I think they're in the same situation as the White Sox. They're go into a major rebuilding mode here. It may take them a couple of years to bounce back. But then again, the Cubs proved you don't need a lot of years.
No, you don't. But like Cody Bellinger, he's got a club option for next year for $25 million. He was paid $20 million this year. Christopher Morale has come up through the ranks, and now he is a superstar. At least
Yeah.
for our team. We're in business. We just have to keep the offense up. And we get the bullpen. Look, it's all about pitching. You know that. It's just like for football, defense wins championships. Pitching wins championships.
Right.
Kyle Hendricks is not who he once was, but he's the only remaining player left from the 2016.
Yeah, he won't be there next year, do you think?
I think he's got 1 year left in his contract, but next year will probably be a walk year for sure. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. I mean, he's good, but
Would you let him go this winter or trade him?
he's good. No,
Okay.
he's good. He's good.
Yeah, I tell you, the White Sox, they kept Dylan Cease. He was their main pitcher. And they kept Luis Robert. The guy's a phenomenal outfielder. And he hits. That's the key. He hits.
He's got light pole tower.
Yes, he does.
The first guy you were talking about, Dylan Cease, didn't he come up in the Cubs organization?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
he
did.
is one.
By the way, thanks for sending us great players who we managed to butcher. I'll tell you what, like I said, we got Eloy Jimenez. I'm pretty sure we got him from you.
Yes.
There's a guy who can't stay healthy. Phenomenal player, just can't stay healthy. I swear if the wind blew to the west, he'd be out for 2 weeks. He's had hip injuries, arm injuries, a hurt heel the other day. He got hurt in the fight.
You're kidding me.
No, he got hurt in the fight.
Well, I mean, these players of today compared with the yesteryear, they would get laughed at.
Yeah,
Just,
I think so.
Injuries.
There's a whole show we could do right there on that.
Absolutely.
And guess what? We're out of time because these guys are waving their hands at us. So anyway, Clay and Doug, see you next time.